How are we working harder than ever and still falling farther behind? And we have to understand that if we don't have any savings, if we don't have any money, there is no way for us to effectively push back. Because the strongest piece of action we have, the best leverage that we have, is saying we're not participating in this. And so that's why we always start off with asking, why don't Americans have enough money? Because that is the first problem that we need to solve if we ever want to push back. It is so stressful. So many of us are having to choose between going to the doctor and paying for the light bill. And that wasn't normal in the previous generation. I never thought that I'd have to grow up as an adult, and when I'm busting my ass for 40 hours a week, that I still have to check my bank account before going to the grocery store. That you're still struggling to pay your insurance for your health care because it's ridiculously expensive, not because you're doing anything wrong. And that's the part that I get really pissed off about, because they do make it feel like we're doing something wrong, right? So that's one of the reasons we type the me's in the chats, y'all, because we're not doing anything wrong. We are at a rigged carnival game. That's America. Welcome to the rigged carnival of America. It's like you see this basketball game at the carnival and you're like, I was pretty good at basketball. Let me go take a couple shots. Clank, bang, miss. All along the carnival person's making fun of you. Oh, I thought you said you were good at this, huh? Then you see every other person miss too. And you start talking because right now you're silent because you're embarrassed because we think it's just us. But then we start talking to all the other people that are playing the rigged carnival game too. And we realize it ain't just us, not by a long shot. Everybody's getting screwed over. And then we don't feel bad anymore, right? Then we start to feel mad. We're like, damn, you watched me sit there taking those shots, but you never told me that it was rigged. You just let me feel that it was bad. So what we need to do is understand that it's not our fault, but we need to push back. That's what really has to happen. The only way we can do that, though, is if we have some money, because money equals resources in today's society. We don't want money because we're greedy. We need resources. We need to control our food. We need to control our housing. We need to control our health care, because the most important thing we can do is we are no longer participating in this system. Withdraw. But we can't withdraw when we depend on the very same thing that we're trying to withdraw from. So that's where it comes down to money. We're going to be talking about that for a little while. Because why is it that corporations don't pay their employees? Isn't it strange? And if we actually take some time to think about it, we'll recognize that corporations don't pay their employees because those mofos don't have to. So businesses aren't going to pay more out of charity, right? That job that they're offering, they ain't offering that job for charity. They're offering that job so they can make some more money. So they're going to try to pay the lowest amount of possible, because most businesses don't understand that having a secure employee base is more important than anything else. So they don't provide security, but they do give a salary raise if they have to, but only if there's competition, right? Only if there's competition. So right now, I always think about this. Walmart makes billions of dollars a year. Why don't they pay their employees enough that those employees care enough to smile? That's it. Just smile. This much customer service. Why doesn't Walmart pay this much to their employees so that they give this much customer service? Well, because the only reason you'd pay your employees to provide customer service is if you were afraid your customers would walk out and go shop somewhere else. So that's why Walmart got rid of all the other general stores. There are no local general stores. that compete with the corporations. So Walmart doesn't have to pay their employees enough to have even this much customer service, because they know that when we walk in there and go, "Hi, can you tell me where the soap is?" and they run away, that we're not going to walk out and go somewhere else because Walmart's too convenient, right? So then they don't pay us because they don't need to. And slowly the cost of living clicks up because that inflates every single year, right? Cost of inflation, couple percent this year, couple percent that year. And before you know it, the cost of living and the salary for most of Americans are about the same thing. And that introduces a new wrinkle, because what that cost of living being near the salary does is, damn, that gives the employer a lot of power, because you are completely depending on that employer for everything you need to live. The employer knows this too. So they call you and they say, "Hey, I need you in at 5 a.m. tomorrow. I know it's your day off, but I need you in. And if you don't come in, you're fired." What are you going to say? No, you can't, because you depend on them. So that is one part where the economy completely screws us over. The other part is, if we still controlled the media, if the media was still for the people instead of for profit, we would figure this out, right? Because we would have newscasters and people in the media all the time calling out this bull, calling it out. But because the media works for the very same people that are screwing us over, the media works for the highest bidder, not for the people. And then on top of that, obviously, the politicians no longer care about us. Politicians care about who funds their campaign. We know who funds their campaign. It's the damn corporations. So if politicians are beholden to corporations because corporations pay their campaigns, then we need to even just stop thinking about turning up the pressure on politicians. We need to start turning up the pressure on their bosses, on the corporations. So let's turn up the pressure on the god dang corporations. Me too, Callum. I've been jokingly saying, ever since I was a little boy, all I wanted to do was get rid of all the corporations. Because how can a group of people be so mean and so callous to another group of people that live in their area, right? Well, it's because they don't live in the area. They don't care about your community. That's what changed. Corporations used to care about our communities because corporations were a part of our communities. But because corporations got so big, they no longer care about our individual community. So it doesn't matter. So that's where it all comes down to: corporations don't care about you. Corporations don't care about your family. But those very same corporations who you know don't care about you, who you know don't care about your family, those very same corporations control all your food. Those very same corporations control all your health care and your medicine, and they control your housing. But those corporations actively try to hurt you because they have a legal obligation to make money over helping the community, protecting people. So that's the problem, is that corporations are incentivized to hurt us. Corporations are incentivized to hit us with political propaganda. Because what they've done is they take control of what we need to live. Humans need certain things to live in life. We all need the same things, actually. So if somebody wanted unlimited money and unlimited power, they would take control of the things that humans need to live. Because if it's a group of people that control the things that all humans need to live, then they have power over us. This is one of the problems, is we think that power lies in legislation and laws and leadership. It doesn't. Power lies who controls your food. Power lies in who controls your healthcare or your housing. Malcolm, we're here every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you see the Discord, we've got a whole group that meets all the time to fix this. And the one thing that I would caution against would be to label it too soon. There's no reason to say socialism or barbarism, because so many people are so latched on to the label that they've chosen. They've literally, like the system that we're in now, this capitalistic system, literally has made it so that if you say anything against the system, a lot of people have a visceral reaction. So we need to make sure that we're not saying anything that causes them to have a visceral reaction, because most people believe what you and I are saying. It's just that when you put labels on it and define it in the old way, people push back against it. Oh, that's not me. That's not what I was grown up with. Da, 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 da. But it's like, yo, we're not even in a free market right now. It doesn't. There's nothing that works for the people. It works against them. And that's where we have to understand that working full time does not cover the basics anymore. And that is a huge part of where we are at politically, because our economic situation boxes us in. It's what it really is. It's like we want to make change, but there's a wall in the way. And the wall in the way of change is the fact that we don't control what we need to live. We don't control our food, our housing, or our healthcare. So the strongest thing that we can do to push back is to say, screw this system, fix it, or we're staying home. Isn't that amazing? The most powerful thing we can do as a society is stay home. It's happening on January 20th. We have the women's walkout, but the most powerful thing we can do is stay home. So then if we work backwards from there, if the most powerful thing we can do is stay home, then how do we make it so that we're able to stay home? When we're at home, what do we need? We need our food, we need our medicine or our health care, and we need the home that we're in to be paid for, to pay for it. So that's it. We need food, we need housing, we need healthcare. Deidre, we're already starting. I believe just pinned the Discord link so you can join via there. Because what we have to do is it's 3 different portions. So depending on where people are at in their mind, in the process, we are simply showing people to recognize that greed is the disease. Then once people recognize what the problem is, oh, all this economic shit is connected to all the political shit, because the biggest strength we have in politics is saying, this system really doesn't work for us anymore. I do not want to participate in it anymore until it stops trampling on me, until it stops screwing me over. That is the biggest action we have, is staying at home. What's up, United? But we can't stay at home right now because we don't have any of the resources that we need to just plop our asses on the couch for 10 days. And it's only once that we all have the resources that we need to plop our asses on the couch for 10 days that it'll work, because this can't feel like a leap of faith. We can't have a bunch of people asking, is this going to work? They need to be at the point where they're like, hell yes, I can't wait for this. I got my food set up. I got my housing set up. I got my healthcare set up. I know that 99% of my neighbors have theirs set up and they are excited too. But the only way we get there is if we build a community first. we have to show people that we're not going to let them fall. So we have to build up to it. It can't be an immediate thing. The way we build up to it is we create new systems. But we will never get 20 million listening. Even if we do get 20 million listening, people all have the different ideas. We are done with having moral arguments because you can't have a moral argument with a morally bankrupt person. What you can do, though, is you can change how the math works. You can make the system easier for them, easier for everyone. It's just that everyone can't take a week to set it up because we need to have more control over the things that we need to live first. So we're going to be going through, again, real quick, the economy and how that was such a huge protector for us because we actually had freedom of choice. We could vote with our dollar. We no longer can vote with our dollar anymore, so we don't have that protectorate. So if we can't vote with our dollar, if we can't leave, that's what changes, by the way, from customers to consumers. When people say, oh, we're consumers, well, you consume something when you don't have a choice. You're a customer when you can pick what works for you. Right now, we are consumers because so many options, we don't have a choice. We get our gasoline from corporations. We get our healthcare from corporations, everything we need to live. And that's really where we went wrong because the things that we need to live, we used to control them. Communities used to have control over them. But what ended up happening was these corporations came in and they tricked us a little bit. They lied. I mean, for a little while, they didn't lie. But these corporations told us, hey, we'll take care of your food. Instead of you going to 5 different farmers, let us do that work of buying all the food from the farmers, and then we'll put it in a centralized location for you. That'll work great, right? And we said, sure, that'll work great. Just don't screw us over. Remember, you don't own this food because we did the hard work. It came from our land. Our farmers were the ones that farmed it. We're the ones that need it to live. You are just stewards. You are there to help facilitate the process. You're nothing but a middleman. But over years and years, they give more and more propaganda down our throats saying that, oh, without the ultra wealthy, we wouldn't have all these amazing things. And so we started to believe that everything we had in our society wasn't because of a mutually beneficial relationship between the people that do the work, us, and the people that bring the money. And they're basically, for construction, the people that sit in the truck, the people that supervise and sit there and simply facilitate the work. They don't participate in it. We have to show people that we are the ones that have just as much power. And this is where I always bring up construction crews. Because damn, nowhere is it more apparent who is doing the work and who is creating the value versus who is sitting on their ass and getting paid. Because when you are at a construction site, you will see 15 skilled guys, skilled workers busting their ass, laying the concrete, putting up the plumbing, the electricity, the drywall, doing all of this skilled work to build this building. But who's going to make the majority of the money? The asshole sitting in his truck, not contributing anything. And that's the issue, is that the majority of people are doing the hard work, but they are not getting their fair share. Because the stats are 1% of Americans have as much as 90%. The only way that happens is the boss going, $10 for me, $1 for you. $10 for me, $1 for you. I did the math. If a boss sells a house for $200,000 and they use 10 workers to help build that house, the boss gets $100,000 and each of the 10 workers get 10 grand, right? And that's really what it is it's so funny because Aquila came from an immigrant family, because you are either a Native American who's been here on American soil or on this soil for generations, or you came here from somewhere else. And it's just so funny because they want us fighting all these different issues. They want us fighting over immigration. They want us fighting over foreign influence. They want us fighting over salaries and housing prices. And they want us to think there's 1,000 different issues going on. But there's one issue. Greed is the disease in America today. Have we ever wondered why the front page news always says immigration and trans athletes and these things that don't affect the majority of Americans? Because they want us distracted. They want us divided. And there's not one single mechanism besides greed is the disease. The ultra wealthy, 1% in America, have as much as 90% of us. If America was 10 slices of bread and we all did the work to make those 10 slices of bread, one person would have 5 slices. That is messed up because the other 9 people only have 5 slices left. So if you're wondering why things feel so desperate, if you're wondering why why it's feeling a little hot in here, why the pressure seems to be getting to everybody, it's because for about 2 decades now, one person has been taking 5 slices of bread, and that leaves the rest of us, 9 people, to fight over 5 slices of bread. And that's where it's so funny to me that one person that is taking 5 slices of bread says, it's not me, it's all the immigrants. It's not me, it's foreign influence. It's not me, the workers aren't working hard enough. No, motherfucker, it's you. We all work together to make these 10 slices of bread, and you, one person, took 5 of them. And that's where it is so sad when people do not see that greed is the disease, because everything else are that one person trying to get us to point fingers anywhere except for them. So if you understand this and you feel this, drop a me in the chat, because not only do they make it feel like we don't have enough money because we're lazy, because we're doing something wrong. All right, Joe, I'm going to drop down and hop back up. They make it feel like we are doing something wrong when we are simply following their rules. They told us that, hey, if you work hard, you get ahead. Hey, if you follow the rules, you'll have a life that's a little bit better than your parents. You'll have a life that's way better than your grandparents. It's literally called the American dream. And that's why everything is so confusing. That's why the divide between young and old is greater than ever. Because the previous generation saw that, hey, we worked hard and we got ahead. That means if this generation is not getting ahead, they're probably not working hard. They are going off of old math. They are forgetting that the rug has been pulled out from under them. So that's where we need to understand that getting people to recognize the disease is the first step in all this, that greed is the problem. And if we can get people to see that greed is the problem, then they recognize what the actual disease is, If we can get as many people as possible to understand the disease, then we can all work towards the same cure. And the whole problem is that people are working full time and still stressed about money. Because if we are working full time and still can't make ends meet, then we will never have the time or the energy to try to fix the problems around us. So if we're trying to fix the problems surrounding us, then what we have to do is we've got to get as many people on the same page to recognize that we have been lied to, that the point of life is not money. The point of life is human connection and trying to foster security for as many people as possible. Because when you really think about the way you want to set up a society, when you really think about what is happening, is that we need as many people as possible to achieve security. But the way we get security is through money. Money doesn't buy happiness, but money buys housing. Money buys a house. Because money might not buy happiness, but money keeps you from being unhappy. Money buys food. Money buys healthcare. But they make us feel bad when we're the ones that do all the damn work, but they take all the money. And we say, where's our fair share? They make it feel like we're being greedy, but they're the ones being greedy. And we've been demanding change for so long that we just need to start building what we need, to not demand change, to just create change ourselves. Because it starts with the majority of Americans not having enough money. We don't have enough money, so that robs us of our independence. Because we think of freedom of choice to be choosing products. But you choose your job too. But in a lot of cases, we don't choose. We are just stuck in our jobs. The way we can figure out if you're stuck in your job or not is ask yourself, could you quit your job tomorrow? Could you quit your job tomorrow? If you can quit your job tomorrow, then great, you've got freedom of choice. If you can't quit your job tomorrow, if you can't leave a bad situation, then are you really free? If you can't even quit a crappy job where you hate going to every single day, where you feel bad, are you really free? Heck, when you go to the grocery store, if you can't afford 90% of the things in the grocery store, do you really have a ton of freedom if you can't make a choice because you don't have any money? So freedom of choice requires money. So if you don't have freedom of choice, do you really have freedom? If you're stuck with only one option, do you really have freedom? Because most people who don't have money are stuck with only one option. So therefore, people without money do not have freedom. Because without money, you don't have freedom of choice. And without choice, do you really even have freedom at all? So we have to understand that this comes from the majority of Americans not having enough money. And it's not because we are lazy. It's because they take more than their fair share. We have created more than enough. But they take and take and take. We have gotten more productive over the last 40 or 50 years. All that happened was that we have a new technology, the internet. That internet made us more productive. The red is the money that we were paid, and the blue is the money we brought to the company. Can you believe that? That is how much money we are making for a company. This is the exact reason why CEO pay is 300 times larger than worker pay. 300 times. This chart is why you don't have any money. This chart is why your boss is rich as shit and you're still struggling to make it by. Because this chart shows everything you need. Who does the work? The freaking workers. It's in the name. So the workers do the work and we make the money. But then, damn, look at that blue line. What's crazy is in 1980, wow, it looks like the amount of money we brought to the company was very close to the amount of money they paid the workers. So if we brought in a $100 or $1 million, 900,000 of it went to the employees, and then the executives split the other 100 grand. That seems about right to me, because it should be that the people who do the hard work get their fair share of the reward. But right now, the people up top are taking everything, and then they're blaming us for it, right? 7-Eleven. Not only are they taking everything, but then these assholes blame us for it. They say that, oh, it's not that we took more than our fair share. It's that these people aren't working hard enough. No, mofo. You are not paying me enough for health care. And then rather than paying me enough for health care, you purposefully underpay me. Walmart made $10 billion last quarter, or last year. $10 billion. But the majority of their employees are on freaking public assistance. What they did was they intentionally moved their employees, or they intentionally transferred the cost from their bottom line to that of the American taxpayer. And that's why the media is so goddamn important, because if we had the media actually telling the truth, the majority of Americans would be hearing about that every day. It would be front page news every day, because the media would be for people instead of for profit. But because the media is for profit and owned by the very same billionaires we are pushing against, then the media lies for the corporations. Oh, no, it's not that the corporations are taking more than their fair share. It's that these workers are lazy. Oh, or my favorite, these workers don't know how to budget, right? These workers don't know how to budget, right? Yeah, Robbie, we understand. But that's where, if a law is unjust, it is not a law. Like, obviously, it's only a law because corporations took over power in our government and literally paid the lobbyists to write this law. We understand what the Dodge versus Ford Motor Company lawsuit did, but what it did is it should open people's eyes. What is the point of a society? Why have a job? You can set up your company in two different ways. Number one, so that food and housing and healthcare and commodities, the things that people need to live, commodities only cost about 10% or 20% of your salary. So say everybody's salary stayed the same at like $4,000 a month. Our food, housing, healthcare, and transportation should be no more than $1,000 a month total. Then every single person would have $3,000 a month left over, or they'd have more time. And that's what this is, right? That's what this is. We've created that value 10 times over, skillsmen. We just need to take it back. Because look, we see that value. This is where I'll bring up the construction crews again. We see who does the actual work when it comes to construction crews, right? The people that get all the money, the ones that are the innovators, the geniuses, they sit their asses in the truck the whole time. Meanwhile, the real workers, the people with the real skill, they go and build the damn building. That pisses me off. When you see it, could you tell my dad worked construction for a couple decades, especially with these skilled tradespeople, right? They're the one, and they all rely on each other. Nobody relies on the boss. What the F does the boss do? No. The site grading guy relies on the foundation guy. The foundation, or the plumbing guy or the drywall relies on the foundation. The concrete relies on the foundation. The plumber relies on the electrician. The cabinet guy relies on the plumber and the electrician. They all rely on each other. We're the ones that already create the value in society. Corporations are just middlemen. That's it. And it's so funny, right? All we're saying is that corporations don't care about you. Corporations will screw your family over in a heartbeat. All we're saying is that you can have a factory. Anybody can do a picture of a blueprint, but unless you have the people to do the work, you're not doing it yourself. But it's so funny, people that will never ever be in the owning class, what do? We all know it, right? They defend the very billionaires who couldn't care less about them. Like if you've ever had a bad situation with an insurance company and then you stand up for corporations, man, that is a weird take. And I think all of us have had a bad interaction with an insurance company. Jay Beans, I'll be getting there in just a second because what I like to do is talk about the disease. We have to make sure that everybody understands that greed is the disease. You're not getting it? Anybody can have a factory. All you need is money to own a factory. But if you don't have 1,000 people to work at that factory, this is what's so funny. Oh, the ownership class is where? Is they're the ones that do everything? No. We build the factory where the products are made. We run the factory and make the products. We do the trucking that ships them to the stores. Oh, we're the ones that open the stores and close the stores. We stock the shelves. We're the cashiers. Oh, and we're the people buying it. Oh, but it's the owner that deserves everything. Oh, yeah, right? And then there's the pivot, right? It's not, there's this and that. It's, new argument. And that's where we have to understand that the majority of people that the 30% of people who want this in society, if they still have their head in the sands, we're not convincing, right? We are not here to convince you that a car is better than a horse. If people are still sitting here with their heads in the sand after this long, right? Then let's move on. If people are that hopeless, that's fine. We have people that aren't scared, that are ready to move forward. And that's what this is. We have to gather a group of people that understand that greed is the disease. And then we are not sitting there when we say it's not left versus right, it's up versus down. That doesn't mean we're sitting there arguing with people who have their head in the sand. What it means is we give them 2 chances to show that they're asking questions in good faith. And if people are asking in good faith, you can stay as long as you'd like. But I think that right now, the majority of people, 70% of us, want to move forward with a different society, with a different way. Because it's such a dumb way to set up society, to have people chase after money, right? It doesn't make any sense. Because number one, money isn't the point of society. All money does is get you the resources that you need to live. Really, we should have people choose what they want to do based on their passions and their skills, right? Based on where they think they'll make the biggest difference in their community. That's what always motivated me. I wanted to do a job where I could make the biggest difference in my community, where it could matter to other people's lives. That's it. I think that's what most of us want to do. We want to do something that matters to other people's lives. Like when Alex gives me the encouragement every day. That matters to me, Alex. I appreciate that. Sometimes I'm like, I hope I'm not just spinning my wheels. But what it is people need to see this. We need to recognize, appreciate it, Dale, that it's not just us. That's why we drop the knees, y'all. I appreciate that. Because, man, doesn't it feel like it's just us? How many of us have worked at a job for 4 or 5 years, asked for that raise, told no, and then blamed ourselves, right? You literally could not have done more. That boss was never giving you that raise. Not because you did anything wrong, because they're greedy assholes, and the way the system is set up is that it's cheaper to get rid of you and bring somebody else in because they don't have any long-term vision. That's the problem. Our corporations are incentivized to screw us over in the short term and screw us over long term so that they can get rich in the short term. So what we're talking about is how the economic issues in America lead to the political issues. Because the biggest thing that we can do to fight back, to speak out, is say, fix this damn system or we're not coming back, right? What do you got? If you have a messy partner or something like that, you tell them, look, fix this or we're not coming back. But if we don't have the ability to not come back, if we are stuck, my joke here is like if it was a 15-year-old that went to their parents and they said, Mom and Dad, you better fix what happens around here or else I'm leaving. The parents laugh, right? It's like, you're 15. You depend on us for food, right? You depend on us for housing, right? You depend on us for healthcare. We'll see you when you get hungry. We'll see you when you get cold. Rose City, appreciate that, me? Because, man, they make it feel so isolating. Part of it is we are silent, right? That's where our first step in all this is to break the silence. If we break the silence, we'll break the fear that most people are living with. That, man, what am I doing wrong? It's just me. If I speak out, I'll be made fun of. If I speak up, I'm risking my job. If I speak up, how do I get food, right? Well, what we need 7-Eleven is to make it just as convenient. I know, right? There you go, Dale. And so we have to understand that the strongest action we have in America today is saying, screw this, screw you. Because basically, it used to be that we protest, politicians listened to protesting because politicians worked for us. Politicians no longer work for us. They work for the corporations. So rather than just protesting, we need to do something that puts pressure on the corporations because it's the corporations that control the politicians. So that's where we come back to money because we have to think of the corporations and politicians working as a team to keep us down. That's literally what's been happening. Because in order for us to have any strength politically, we have to be secure financially. Damn, yo, right? In order for us to do anything politically, we have to be secure financially. So the politicians and corporations have been working together to make sure that we don't have any financial security. Because the most powerful action we have is also the most fun. The most powerful action we have in today's society is sitting our asses on the couch. We need to sit our asses on the couch for 10 days. But in order for us to sit our asses on the couch for 10 days, we have to know where our food is coming from. We have to know where our house is going to be paid for, right? We have to know that we've got healthcare and medicine for however long we're not going to be going into work for. And it can't be a leap of faith. People can't be asking, oh, should I do this? I'm a little nervous. I don't know if anybody else is going to do it. It has to be a goddamn inevitability. It can't be a leap of faith. It has to be a logical next step. It has to be like, why haven't we done this yet? Why have we not just stayed home for 20 days? Why have we not just stayed home for 10 days? Literally, think of the connection and camaraderie if we did things during those days. Hey, the first day is community day. Go meet people in your community. Hang outside. Because this is how we fix this. We build a community to rival the rigged system. We have been in this position before. We don't have to, like us as humans, this has been happening decade after decade. This is not the first society in the world to be completely taken over by the 1%, right? It has been probably to this extreme with owning the media, owning politicians, controlling the economy. But it's not like we have to do something new. We're literally busting out the same playbook of how it has happened before, and we're just going to fix it. Oh, no, man, I see you. So that's all that it is. is all of us recognizing that greed is the disease, that we don't have to go do something new, right? It's not like we have to develop something new. We're going back to what humans always used to do. Instead of relying on that corporation for our food, I'm going to rely on our neighbor, that one who makes food. We call them farmers. Because it is people in our neighborhood that are creating it. If the corporations were actually creating everything we need to live, if it was corporations going, but they physically can't because corporations aren't people. It's people that are creating the food that we need to live. They are in the fields doing the hard work. It's not corporations, right? The doctors and the nurses and the healthcare providers. It's not Kaiser dressing up in a smock and coming to see you. It's your freaking person that lives a couple streets over. And that person, what do those doctors and healthcare providers say is the worst part about their job? The insurance companies. Yet they still go through the insurance companies because it's their habit, and it would be hard to bring 100 of us together to go buy direct primary care. So that's what we need to do, is say, if this insurance company is screwing us over, the patient, if it's screwing you over, the doctor, why are we still going through this middleman that adds no value? That's it. All corporations are a bunch of middlemen. They are facilitators. They go to the people with the product and say, hey, can we buy that from you? Then they go to the people who need the product and they sell it to us. That is it. Corporations don't bring any value. They should have been stewards. They were supposed to be stewards. They weren't supposed to own our food. That almost sounds ridiculous. You don't own my food. It's food. You own my health care? What? The community should own these things. Appreciate you dropping the me, Cosmic, because they make it feel like this messed up society is normal. They make it feel like, well, if you don't make way more than the cost of living, what are you doing wrong? But then when you actually look at the average salary and the average cost of living are very freaking close to each other. So the majority of people don't have any savings. And if we don't have any savings, we're one step away from financial ruin. And if we are one step away from financial ruin, are we going to be all happy and agreeable all the time? No, we're going to be scared and nervous. And really, we're going to be looking around for the problem. We're going to go, look, the previous generation worked hard and got ahead. What is going on? What is causing this problem that I am working hard and not getting ahead? And then the media lies to us. Oh, it's the immigrants. Oh, it's foreign powers. The ultra wealthy want you pointing fingers anywhere except for them. Because here's what it is. They've got us so confused that we will point fingers anywhere. Who controls all the jobs and the health care that's tied to those jobs? Dinah. It's the ultra wealthy. Who controls the media and everything that we see and hear? Dinah. It's the ultra wealthy. Who controls our healthcare and retirement? It's the ultra wealthy. Who controls the politics in our country? It's the ultra wealthy. And what's so funny is this current administration has veered into socialism because, as far as I'm concerned, damn, if I was Intel's competitor and our government bought a 15% stake in Intel, man, that is messed up. But no, we get called socialists. This is the Trump administration. The Trump administration purchased 15% in Intel. When the government picks winners and losers, when the government says, we're going to invest in this company and not that company, that's the definition of socialistic practices. So, and then what ends up happening? And then AMD, right? They can't sell in China. Then all of a sudden they do a backroom door where 20% of their revenue goes to the United States government. And now they're all of a sudden allowed to sell chips in China. But the whole reason they couldn't sell chips in China was because it was a national security threat. Oh, I guess as long as we pay 20% of our revenue to the government, it's no longer a national security threat. And what's so funny is that people think that one of the political parties care about them. They're smart enough to see that one political party doesn't care about them, but then they think the other one does. That's always what's so weird to me. If you think one political party doesn't care about you, you should be smart enough to see that both don't care about you. Oh, the blue team hates me, but that red team, they love my family. That red team, those blue teams, they just lie to me. The red team would never lie to me. The red team would never lie to me. Or the other way, right? That red team is terrible. The blue team doesn't lie. The blue team is so much better. Guess what? Neither work for you. Both red and blue are giant corporations, but instead of corporations for money, they're corporations for power. Right? The red team and the blue team are corporations, but instead of being corporations for money, they're corporations that are after power. They are like two parties. Both parties are two sides of the same coin, and that coin is in a billionaire's pocket. The political parties are like good cop, bad cop. Everybody has their good cop, and everybody has their bad cop. But both of those cops work for the same corrupt department. They work for the same billionaires. So that's where we need to understand that we're never going to get everybody to agree on morals. Sean, that is hilarious. So we're never going to get everybody to agree on morals. You know what we do all agree on is when the math gets better. So let's stop trying to have moral arguments. It's never going to get us anywhere. Let's just make the math better, right? We didn't switch from having local markets everywhere to grocery stores because of a moral argument. We didn't switch from horses to cars because of a moral argument. Samantha, yeah, we are getting suppressed like a mofo. That's where join the Discord. So Samantha, join there. And so we have to go ahead and stop saying, oh, hey, if we convince enough people to change, then we win. You don't convince people of anything. You get new users. That's what we need. We don't need people to be convinced. And it's like this. It's the difference between going out and yelling, oh, screw the system. So say you just go and you put a table up in the middle of a busy area and you go, oh, screw the system. Come on, let's build a new one. Who wants to sign up for it? You're probably not going to get very many people, right? Well, here's our actual idea. Rather than saying all that, you can go, hey, everybody, we've recognized that corporations don't care about us. But damn, corporations control all of our food. So what we're trying to do is put a group of people together that want to buy their food from a local farmer instead of corporations. Whether you are on the team that is blue or the team that is red, no matter what your background is or where you're at, that sounds appealing because it's not a moral argument. It's a mathematical one. Corporations don't care about you. They screw us over every chance they get. But isn't it weird that we let those same people that don't care about us control all of our food and control all of our health care? We are building a group together that wants to get our food from a non-corporate place. Would you be into that? You're not talking morals. You're not arguing politics. You are simply offering a better option. And that's what we need to do. We're never going to have a moral argument for somebody that has grown up riding a horse, for somebody that loves their horses. You are never going to have a moral argument on why a car is better than a horse. But eventually they'll see, oh, if I need to haul something, a car is better. If I want to go faster, a car is better. Well, 7-Eleven, I think we need, what we were doing before is we were telling people we need the lawn sales, Sean, to be in every single Walmart parking lot. What I really think would be a huge part of this, farmers markets in every single grocery store parking lot, yard sales in every single Walmart and Target parking lot. Give those mofos some competition. And if the products we have aren't better, at least make them have a little bit better customer service. Because what we need, I know, but we can, so here's where it starts. Local ordinances. Because there is no goddamn federal law against having a bazaar in a parking lot. Because, man, I see those car groups meet all the time. I know that Walmart allows RVs to stay there overnight. So there's no federal law against this. We just need to find one community that is ready to make a law that says we can do yard sales in Walmart parking lots, because we believe that competition is fucking healthy. And right now, Walmart are such assholes because we have no competition for them. Right now, they pay their employees so little that they don't have enough for health care because there's no competition. Because when we start doing this and they tell us, no, you can't have a yard sale in the parking lot, people are going to get pissed. We're going to get more people on our side. When they start telling us, no, you can't buy your eggs from a local farmer, people are going to get pissed. So yeah, it's break the silence. Then once we break the silence, we'll break the fear. People will start having yard sales in the parking lot. People will start having farmers markets in the grocery store parking lot. Because once we break that silence, we'll break the fear. Well, guess the F what is coming next. Then we have to break the system, because they will start putting up laws. They will start telling us, no, here's one. We're all cool with this. No, you can't start that business in your home. No competitors for me. That's what I hear. No competition for me. What's up, Wild One? Good morning. That's the problem, is we've taken it as normal. I have grown up so that the majority of my life, people aren't allowed to start businesses in their house. I live near a very busy road where people could very easily have a business in their house. You stop and you go on in. But for most of my life, that has not even been a thing. So we get so habituated to the corporate system. Just like that farmer does not want to be selling their food to the corporation anymore. It's just that's what they've always done. And they don't know how else to do it. That doctor and that nurse and that healthcare provider does not want to be going through the frickin' insurance company anymore. It's just we don't have any other options right now. I truly believe that our democracy is flailing, not because of apathy, not because of so many of us want this, but because so many of us are stuck. Because we don't have any other options. Because if we all had local options to get our food from that was just as convenient as the grocery store, you bet your ass the majority of us would be there. But we simply don't have that option. Every time we do a live, somebody comes in and goes, oh, nice, I've got 4 local markets in my area and community-supported agriculture. Well, shoot. If we can do what your town does and get that to spread across America, that's going to be the biggest fix that we have. Because remember, y'all, we are working backwards from what's the most powerful thing that people in a society can do? Stay at home for 10 days, for 20 days. That's literally it. The most powerful tool we have politically is to stay at home. Sebastian, we need you to join the Discord if you're into this, because what this is this is just us meeting nationally. What the Discord is we break out by state, because that's where it really matters, Sebastian. We are creating local action groups that are pushing towards a single cause. Essentially, each of our states have these different groups. Yes, I am. Each of these states already have different groups. But then we've got our overarching teams as well, too, supporting each of the state teams. So people are a part of the state teams. People are a part of the overarching teams. And that's exactly what it is, Miko. Only having that $200 left after you buy everything you need to live. Because there's two ways to run a society. Number one, you make it so that when every citizen in your country, after they've paid for groceries and rent and their car payment and healthcare, that they only have $200 left. Then the majority of people will not be able to push back, to use their most powerful tool in their political arsenal. Because the most powerful thing we can do is stay home. And damn, Miko, when you have 6 months of savings in your bank account, that means you can stay home for a month or two. And that shit is power. Same with you, Sebastian. The only reason we don't have that savings is because money is power. Because it gives us the ability to say, I think I'm going to stay home for a couple days. It gives us the ability to say, hey, boss, unless you start being nicer, I'm not coming in anymore. I don't need to take this shit. I have 6 months worth of savings. Hey, boss, I only started at $8 an hour because you told me you would give me equity once I hit a year. Oh, well, I'm at a year and you're not giving me equity? Oh, well, I have 6 months of savings, so I can just quit because you're a liar. If you don't have that savings, you're stuck, y'all. It's so crazy is that none of us have any freedom. It's like our jobs are prisons that we're allowed to leave. It's just that when you leave this prison, there's just no opportunity. You're not going to get chased down, but there's no food, there's no shelter, there's nowhere to go, right? That's the issue, is that the majority of Americans don't have any resources. So what we need to understand, so yes, user, but most people, we are building the mechanisms for what we need for a general strike. Because the most powerful tool we have is staying at home. But right now, the majority of people can't do that because we don't have enough money to just stay at home. Or we don't have the resources. We don't know where to get our food other than a grocery store. We don't know where to get our health care other than the insurance company. We don't have anywhere to get our housing instead of corporations. So before we actually push for a long-term general strike, we need to build the conditions where that does not become a leap of faith. Because if people are even this much nervous about the general strike, it will not happen. And really, we say general strike is one of those that carries a lot of weight with it. Sitting at home, staying home is, I think, a nice way to say it. Staying home. Fix this or we're not coming back, right? Isn't that literally like what you do with a relationship, what you do with a job, what you do with any organization? Fix this or we're not coming back. But if you are telling someone, fix this or we're not coming back, but you say that to the people that provide you all of your food, what are you going to do? When you say fix this or we're not coming back, but that person gives you all your medicine, what are you going to do, right? That's the issue, is that we don't control anything we need to live. And if we don't control the things that we need to live, we never have any power. Because we need to be able to say, this has not worked for us for a long time, but lately it's really not working for us. You need to fix this or we're not going to participate anymore. And the whole reason things have gotten so bad is because we haven't been able to say that for so long. We haven't been able to push the reset button for a really long time. And so corporations have taken more and more of the levers of power in our society. It began by taking control of the economy. There are no more mom and pop shops anymore. That means there's no competition for the corporations. If there's no competition for the corporations, that means they don't need to pay their employees. That means they don't need to offer good products or services or innovate. And then if that was the only problem, we would be able to figure it out because we would have the media calling those assholes out all the time. But because the media works for the very same corporations that are screwing us over, we all get scattered because the media was supposed to keep us in the same reality. The only way that we see the trolls in this comment section get so far divorced from reality is a purposeful actions taken by the corporations because they know that if they can get just 10%, 20% of people to throw a wrench in things, what's so crazy is we are trying to push forward the wheel of progress in our society. Hey, we're just trying to get all of you more money. That's really all this is. Because we want all Americans to have more money. Because we truly believe if we had more money, most people wouldn't be so freaking angry because they wouldn't be so freaking scared of financial ruin. And most people, even if most people didn't care, then the people that did care, they would have the resources to be able to use our most powerful tool, which is sitting here, not working, right? That's what it is. I haven't talked about my business at all. And you're just here to stir the pot. So we appreciate your comments, but this is where we have to deeply understand that so many people are have this competitive mindset, right? Oh, I know. That's where I just kind of let them go. And what's funny, fellow, is the less you engage, the angrier they get. So the more comments come rolling in, which the happier it makes me. So what it is that a majority of people, not a majority of people, but 1% of people up top are cooperating to make sure that the rest of us have to compete. So remember, if America was 10 slices of bread that we all baked together, one person would take 5 slices. So then the other 9 of us are fighting over the other 5. So we don't have enough. But then the corporations use the media and lie to us about what is actually causing the problem. So what's actually causing the problem is the lack of resources. Those lack of resources keep us stuck. Because we're stuck, we can't exercise our strongest political maneuver, which is sitting our asses at home. So our whole goal is to say, okay, we want a lot of Americans to be sitting their asses at home and not participating in the system, because telling the system, hey, fix this or we're not participating is the strongest move that we have. So we need to get a majority of people to, number one, recognize that that is the move that we have. Number two, to reorganize their life and their choices around that. But finally, we really need to move them to phase 3 to understand that, oh, shoot, no matter what I boycott or cut out of my life, I still buy my food from corporations. I still buy my healthcare from corporations. I still buy my car and the gasoline that goes in it from corporations. So the Discord, that is a great point, Sean. That is exactly what it is for. We meet every single Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, Nikki. Boom. It's nice having friends, right? So that's really what it all comes down to, is that The economy was overtaken by the ultra wealthy. The economy is important, not because that's how we get our political muscle, but it's how we flex our political muscle. And then if we were able to just tell that the media was on our side, but it is for profit instead of for the people. And then finally, the goddamn politicians is who I really blame, because they're the ones that are supposed to correct this imbalance. They are supposed to be, which is so funny, the vanguards of society. But then it's the top three companies, Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street, that are actually screwing us all over, right? And it's so funny when people come in and say, oh, the government's worse. If you haven't noticed, corporations run the government. That's all. Politicians don't work for you or me or our community. Politicians work for corporations. Well, and what's so funny is my MAGA family members that are getting older and to the age of Social Security. Did you know that out of all insurance carriers, Medicare is always ranked as the best by its participants? So it's so funny that people get this idea. But for the last 40 years, the people people have been trying to convince us that the government is broken so that they could use one of fellow citizens' favorite terms, technocracy. They are going to make it into a technocratic or a technology-driven authoritarianism. There we go. That's the best way to say it. Technocracy is too hard for me to say. Authoritarianism driven by technology. Part of why they want Greenland so bad is so they can have their first tech city that is techno-feudalism. Thank you. That is ran by the corporation. So let's get to the problem, or let's get to the solution. We've been talking about a problem a long time. Appreciate the people that have stayed with us. The solution is community. The solution is building what we used to have before corporations took over, because it's not like corporations took over. It was not a hostile takeover. We gave it to them. That's because they came to us and said, hey, rather than you driving to 7 different farmers, what if we bought all of those farmers' food and put them in a centralized store for you to go to? Then you don't have to go to all the different farmers. You get a better selection of food. And we said, okay, just don't screw us over. And the media and the politicians said, you don't need to worry. We're here. We're the media. And we'll tell you the truth if they start screwing you over. And they go, we're the politician. We'll correct imbalances if it starts. That's what we need. That is insane, Marcus. I have not heard of that, but I can piece it together by what you're saying. So that's where it starts, is understanding that it didn't always used to be this way. They were never meant to own our food. They are the stewards over it. Because think about it. They are trying to own something that was grown in the land that's in our community, that was tended to by the people that are in our community, and that is being paid for by the people in our community. Right? That's what's crazy. Because what's so funny, it's not about taxes, it's about the people in the community doing it. Like, guarantee I'm paying a lot in taxes. So it's the people in the community that matter, because they're the ones that actually create the stuff we need to live. Corporations don't go ahead and get a medical degree. Corporations don't go and actually ride in the tractor. Human beings do. And those humans are in your neighborhood. So we need to get to those humans and be like, hey, we are all so used to using corporations, but I think we're all sick of it. Lady Jax, that's my biggest thing, is how many of us went to a job and said, all right, I'm going to bust my ass and show this company that I'm worth it. And we busted our ass for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years maybe. And every single year they said, next year you can have that raise. Next year you can have that promotion. But they will never put it in writing because they know they're stringing you along because it's cheaper for them to fire you and hire somebody else than it is to pay their good employees. And that's what made me think, as a small business owner, I would do anything to retain my good employees. Anything. Because to me, I understand that I want my employees to feel empowered, because that's the only way that they will provide enough customer service so that my customers don't leave. But corporations don't have to worry about their customers leaving, right? Because they have no competition. So that's where the lack of competition is what makes it that we don't have enough money, because corporations don't need to pay enough in salary to have their employees provide customer service, because you only need to give customer service to your customers if they can leave and go work and go shop somewhere else. That's it. So corporations don't need to pay us a cost of living that is a salary that is way higher than our cost of living, because the customers are consumers, and they're consumers because they have no freaking choice. And then because the worker has no money, then the worker does not have the ability to flex the strongest political muscle they have, which is sitting their ass at home. Everybody should have enough savings in their bank account that if we need to sit at home for 10 days, we can. That is the biggest political move that we have. It's not protesting. It's not expressing our anger. It's sitting our asses at home. That's why the majority of people do not even have 3 months worth of savings, let alone 6 months. Because the only way that you feel comfortable sitting your ass at home is if you at least have 3 months or 4 months or 6 months of savings in the bank account, because you know that you can handle anything that gets thrown at you. So what they did was the corporations and the politicians worked together to kneecap us of our biggest ability, which is sitting our asses at home. So if we don't have any money, if we don't have any savings, we are never able to exercise the most powerful action we can take, which is saying, fix this system or we are going home. And that has been the problem for so long, is that we have been unable to say, fix this or we are leaving. And because we are not able to fix what we see as the problem, it gets worse and worse. So I'm going to hit Christian Hernandez real quick, and then fellow, I'll get to you. So Christian, Kush, good to see you. Christian, what this is this is started off, we are an economic pushback group, because we recognize that the biggest political action we can take is essentially dropping out of the system, telling the people, hey, fix this or we're not participating anymore. So that's a big reason why they made it that the majority of Americans don't have enough money, because the strongest, most powerful thing we can do is simply not participate in the system. So over 80% of Americans don't even have a couple $1,000s in savings. That's because the jobs aren't paying us enough. They don't pay us enough because there's no competition, so they don't have to pay us more. And so essentially, we are trying to get the majority of Americans to recognize that greed is the disease. John, we're already taking action. We're doing the best thing that we can do. It's not about missing work, because what this is right now is not about trying to do a general strike. What we are doing is we are taking the action that makes people compelled, that makes people excited. We are not going to sit there and argue with people that a car is better than a horse. We are done arguing that the corporations suck. We're just going to build something that shows people that corporations suck. Because here's what it is. You can take a table out to a busy area and you can get a microphone and yell, corporations, the system sucks. Let's drop out of the system. The system sucks. Let's drop out of the system. And most people will look at you like, but what's the alternative? I can't go shop somewhere else. I have to buy my car from corporations. But if you show people that we're actually building the alternative, if you go into that same busy place and you say, hey, corporations don't care about us, but corporations control your food. We should work to fix that. Corporations don't care about us, but corporations control your food. We should work to fix that. Here's how we're fixing it. Does anybody here want to buy eggs locally? We found 10 farmers that are going to be selling eggs at such and such place during such and such time. So remember, moving forward, it's just one thing, but we have to start somewhere. Let's stop buying our eggs from corporations and start getting them from our community. You're not talking politics. You're not doing a moral argument. You are simply pointing out the problem. Corporations don't care about you, but corporations control what you need to live. And then you're giving them an option. Hey, in order to fix that, here's what we do instead. And then people go, nice. There you go. But the reason people need or think they need corporations is purely due to habit. That doctor and the healthcare providers will tell you that they hate the insurance companies, yet they keep working with them, because how else are they going to get access to 1,000 patients? Well, what if 1,000 patients came to them and said, hey, we're sick of the insurance companies. Would you do direct primary care with us? Yeah, they would. All of the farmers, oh yeah, because farmers love corporations. Farmers love that they can't even open up their John Deere tractor to fix it. Farmers love that they have to buy their seeds from Monsanto. Farmers love being told what to do by corporations. Those farmers would love to be able to sell to their community instead of to corporate overlords. John Wayne, we're doing it. It's all in the Discord. It's very much a multi-tier plan, but what we're doing is we break out by states first. We are breaking out state by state. That's the first step, because we can't do this nationally. It's got to be locally. We get 10 people per state, and 10 people in every single state find 10 people that want to buy eggs once a week. So that's it. That's how we get our 100 dozen eggs a week. 10 people in an area find 10 other people that want a dozen eggs a week. And then once you have 10 people finding 10 people, that's 100 dozen eggs. Then we go to the farmer. Fellow, thanks for your patience. How you doing today? The floor is yours. Oh, we can't hear you there. Or my sound is down. Sorry.
The ideas behind, this concept of stacked impact. Yes, the eggs are a really great way to think about this. Healthcare is a really great way to think about this. Another thing that we talk about in the Discord is the need to get out of the banking system and go to your local credit union and use cash whenever possible, especially with the little guys. The mom-and-pop business shops have to pay fees. Like Visa and MasterCard are part of the conglomerate that we are trying to assuage ourselves from. And all of this leads up to building parallel systems, something that does not happen overnight. Takes time, effort, and intention by many people, not just one, not just a small group, but by people over the course of our livelihoods, understanding that we have the power of choice and have the ability to affect our society, especially